Hey guys, Adam here. Welcome to another episode of On the Couch. So, I'm going to make this short because I got to be somewhere in a little bit. The Quiet Ones. Now, this is a movie I was actually really looking forward to because it's produced by Hammer Horror, and I'm a huge Hammer Horror fan. I was very disappointed. I'm not saying it was horrible. It didn't piss me off or anything, but it wasn't satisfying. So the story is a college student with a camera is asked to be the chronicler of professor's experiment. The professor being played by Jared Harris. And so Jared Harris, and two other students go to try and cure a girl who is believed to have psychic abilities, and the longer they try to help her, the more the evil starts to make shit happen. The idea was interesting. There's no such thing as ghosts, but instead the ghost is created through a psychological manifestation and causes psychokinesis. That's cool. That's an interesting idea, which they kind of go for, and then they switch it over to demon possession. And then for some reason they still keep the psychokinesis, plot going. I don't know. It gets really muddled and confusing after a while, as the movie goes on, to where you can't really understand what's going on. It really is confusing. There were times where I was having a hard time following what was going on, and I never really have that problem with a lot of movies. I mean, yeah, I've said before, it's like, oh yeah, it does this, does that, I don't know. That's really kind of mostly because if it's like a second video, I usually do it late. It's been a couple of days after I've seen the movie, so I kind of forget some things. And I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm literally confused by this plot. I didn't really fully understand what was going on. It's like they tacked on a lot of things kind of for no reason. It turns out that the girl was originally someone else. Or I should say, the manifestation, psychological manifestation, is called Evie. Turns out the girl with the mental girl was actually raised in a cult who worships a Sumerian god, and they believe she is to help resurrect their demon god. Some shit happened, and now she doesn't remember who she really was, and so she thinks she's sick when she's really possessed. She's possessed. They actually show the demon possessing someone else after she dies. That is what happened. At least that's what I think happened, because it kind of happened really fast to where you're just going, what the fuck just happened? Also, why is it always Sumerians? I mean, it's always Sumerians. I mean, or I should say, if it's not the devil doing anything, it's Sumerians. Why is it always, whenever there's a cult, it's always Sumerians. Anyone answer that for me, okay? Comment it, I don't care, just, I need to know why it's always Sumerians. Anyway, also, performance, also characters, you couldn't give two shits about most of the characters except for Jared Harris and the girl, and the sick girl. The rest of them are caricatures, and you don't give a shit. You got the whore, yeah, you got the whore. You got the camera guy, and you got kind of the doofus guy that fucks the whore, or the doofus guy gets kind of like sloppy seconds with after the professor. Yeah, the professor's fucking the whore too. And actually, you know what? That's one thing. If they're not doing the experiment, they're trying to fuck each other. That's what the majority of the conversations are, really. If they're not getting the shit scared out of them, they're trying to fuck each other. I don't know whether that's meant to give them character, but it's kind of out of play. I mean, or I should say, it's not out of place. It's just unnecessary to do that. So yeah, when the whore and the doofus die, you don't really care. You're just good, let them die. But when Jared Harris and the girl dies, you're like, oh crap. Because they were the most interesting characters. Because they were the ones with the story. Well, I mean, it was really mostly because they were the ones who were the focus. But they actually had some character to them. They're the only ones I cared about, and they die. Also, Jared Harris really likes. There wasn't one scene where Jared Harris wasn't smoking a cigarette. I'm not even kidding. Most of it he's either smoking a cigarette during a college lecture. He's smoking a cigarette outside. He's smoking a cigarette during the experiment. He's smoking a cigarette when he's giving his evil speech or whatever. Also, I mean, I'll say this: it definitely has some suspense and atmosphere to this movie, and it builds up the scares. So some of the scares are actually genuine. And really, I think what's even more effective about this movie is when it goes to the 8mm camera, or not 8mm. God, I'm trying to remember what camera they used. Shit, I'll look it up later. But yeah, when they switch over to the camera footage, it's actually rather suspenseful and scary because you feel like you're watching a documentary back in the 70s. But when it switches over, the suspense isn't as terrifying because it's not from someone else's perspective. But it also kind of gets a little disorienting whenever they switch it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes they don't even, they just cut from found footage to regular, without there being any rhyme or without there being a reason. God, I'm trying to think now. There was something else, and I can't remember now. Yeah, honestly, I can't think of anything else about this movie. This was disappointing. I liked the Woman in Black a couple years back. it wasn't scary, but it was very suspenseful. It was creepy. It had atmosphere. Here, again, kind of the same thing, but it was much more disappointing. It was. It really was. And that's a shame because I like Hammer. I like Hammer films. I think they're good. I mean, yeah, sure. They're not masterpieces, but they're fun to watch, and there are plenty of good scary movies. The performances from Jared Harris and the girl and the mental girl, Olivia Cook, I think her name is, were very good. The rest of them, I could care less. Jared Harris, especially Jared Harris. Jared Harris was the highlight of the movie because he played, like, you think he's being noble when really he's just, he's trying to make up for a mistake in his past. Which is another thing that confused me. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is the other thing I want to talk about was, it turns out Jared Harris, like they mentioned in the movie that he had another client who was suffering the same thing. Turns out that client was his son, who was suffering through psychokinetic manifestations. There was a moment where his face gets distorted like it's possessed. And he keeps saying psychokinetic manifestations. I'm pretty sure he's possessed, Jared Harris. Your son was possessed. Because there's no way psychokinetic manifestations could possibly distort one's face. I don't think that's possible. Or in theory anyway. Which again makes the whole idea for psychokinetic manifestations, the fact that ghosts are manifested from the person's mental mind, kind of been thrown out the window for demon possession. Which again is a shame because it's a really good idea that could have been utilized throughout the entire movie instead of going to Sumerian occults. I mean, you could have saved the Sumerian occult for something else. One more thing. The climax was really rushed. Like you see in the trailer, each one like getting a Mark Brandon on them. You assume like they just get one as time goes on. No, they all get them at once. I know that's meant to be suspenseful and intense. It's not. It's not at all. It's, if anything, it just kind of kills the mood and just feels completely rushed. Because then it goes right into the rest of the climax, just speeding through it. To where you're just going, please, 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 please stop that and just take it at a slower pace. Because that's the thing about Woman in Black. It was slow, but it built up, but it had a certain pace to it. Here, it just didn't. It just threw that whole slow, suspenseful pace out the window. Just to get this movie over with. So yeah, Woman in Black, The Quiet Ones, I give a 6 out of 10. I mean, if you want to rent this, then fine. That's all I can recommend it for. It's really disappointing for anyone looking forward to seeing this movie. It really is, which again is a shame. I mean, it's a lot better than the other woman, that's for sure. Alright, now on to trailers. Alright, so I surprisingly didn't get as many trailers as some others. I got Hercules. Also, I got As Above, So Below. This is a found footage movie where a group of archaeologists go down through the catacombs in Paris, which, of all my mentioning of Paris, I've never been to. I never went down to the catacombs, which is a shame. I really should have. It seems like the devil lives in the catacombs or something like that. Well, at least it's not Sumerians. If I stay, this is like the this is the feel-good ghost movie. This is basically what happens is Chloe Moretz is in a car accident with her family, and she is stuck in limbo. Her boyfriend wants her to stay, but if she stays, she will be orphaned because her parents are dead as well. But if she dies, then she's gonna make everyone be heartbroken. So she has to make a decision. I mean, I'll probably see it because, well, for one, I'll probably have to review it. Two, Chloe Grace Moretz is in it. I like Chloe Grace Moretz. I got Deliver Us from Evil again. Let's Be Cops again. Expendables 3 again. One other one. Now this is one and I hope to God doesn't disappoint. Because again, you have an idea. You better utilize that idea. Jezebel is about a girl who, I can't remember if she was in an accident or something. Well, anyway, she's confined to a wheelchair. She goes to visit her dad. She finds tapes of her mother, recorded tapes of her mother before her mom died, reading off tarot cards, telling her about imminent doom. This is all in like Louisiana. This is all in Louisiana, and which means we got voodoo magic as the cause of all the horror and scares. I have not seen a horror movie that involved voodoo magic in a long time. I want to see this movie because it incorporates voodoo magic. Okay? If you can make it interesting and with voodoo magic, you've got me. Do not make this a stereotypical horror film that just happens to have voodoo magic as the catalyst. Do not do that. Please do not screw that up. I really want to see this because it has voodoo magic. I want to see voodoo magic again. Alright, so that's pretty much it on trailers and everything. I'll have a new rewind up later this week, and then I will be seeing Amazing Spider-Man 2. So, bye.